So we are now in the second video about the albedo creation of our procedural skin texture. So what we want to see in this video is how we will be able to start adding different hues, different colors to our marble texture that we already have. So this is our marble texture. This is our base basically that we can already use. And what we want to do from now is to layer the different colors. What you will see in this video is that it's pretty simple process, and this process is quite repetitive in the way that once you understand how we are doing that, then you can understand a lot of this texturing creation process, because it's basically based on the same techniques again and again. So everything is based on masks, and these masks are guiding different colors informations, and later on this mask will be guiding different specular information on top of the model. So what we want to do now is to do a little bit of cleanup first. We just start cleaning this node graph with different backdrops. Okay, this one will be my disp. Same for the label. I can make it slightly brighter with less saturation because I'm working on a grayscale map, or just do your backdrop the way you like them. This one will be my albedo TLD backdrop. Okay, and it will be pink because it's matching to the main color of my model. Something like that. Okay. So what I want to mimic, to copy, will be the color from this guy. It's a pretty simple, quite pretty generic skin. So this is more or less what we want to achieve with this generic skin tutorial, with this generic skin materials that we'll be creating in the end. So we want to have something that can be easily customizable, yet it has lot of vibrancy, lot of different colors to it. If I'm just picking the primary colors, I will get like this primary pink that I should be able to achieve using this main color. I will have this kind of pattern with some kind of bluish or brownish color. We'll have a little bit of blue color, blue tint happening here. Little bit of ambient occlusion coming into play with some darker red values, and a little bit of yellow as well. So that's exactly what I want to start doing on top of my model. So let's see if I can customize this main HSV node in order to make and in order to obtain this primary color. So we just put this reference on my second monitor, zoom on the object, sorry, on the reference I want to copy, and let's try to adjust a little bit of the value. So make that quite more saturated with a bit more of a reddish tint. Something like that can work. And I will just reduce a bit of the value. Something like that. Okay. So I want to start adding a second color now. So how can I do that? So we saw before that we created some masks. So if we have masks that we can already play with, we'll simply have to plug them. But what I want to do first is to start creating different colors. So what I will do is to use multiply nodes and color nodes. So this will be my A value. So my main primary value, this will be my second value. So this multiply will basically multiply this marble texture by what I have inside of this node. This node is white at the moment, so it's multiplied by a value of 1. What I want to do is to start picking different colors, different hue using this node. So I will pick my red color first, something like that. Okay, I can saturate it a bit more. Have something like that, and this will be my soft red color. Let's copy the name, rename this one, melt, okay. Can just select this, copy it somewhere else, copy the connection, and what I saw on my reference is basically that I had some kind of bluish tint happening here, so that's probably something that I want to play with as well. So I will try to create the same color. Let's change the hue to something like that. Click on OK. So let's rename things soft blue. Copy the name, rename the multiply. Save just in case. Other colors that I may want to play with will be a bit of yellow happening inside of the ears. So let's do that again. So see, this process is quite simple, and that's more or less what you have to do all over of your model. So the more saturation you will use, the more of a color your marble texture will get. And if you want to slightly darken the value, then you just have to play with the value here. But yeah, you can keep a value at 1 if you just want to tint your marble texture and just play with the amount of saturation, something like that. Click on OK. So let's rename thing again. Yellow. Control C. Control V. Click on Enter. So I'm not merging them at the moment. I'm just trying to layer the different hue I want to play with. Can play with a bit of orange because that's something that I have on the nose. Yeah, slightly, or a tad more pink. So yeah, that's something that I will do. Yeah, let's create another pink. Can use a soft red for that. Looks like it should be a bit more pink, I think, or a bit more, yeah, a bit more like this, bit more orange actually. Click on OK. Like this, and finally the last color that I want to play with. So I will not paint the full character for this tutorial. I just want to show you basically on the head how you can create all the range of color for the body. But this is the same workflow all over. Just want to pick the color you have to apply to your model, and then you will simply paint masks. So we want to have this kind of pattern. One last color. Connect it like this. Rename, before I rename this guy, we just select the color I want to apply to the model. Something like that. Okay, with a really low saturation. And click on OK. And this one will become my mid-brown color. And okay, so we have all the different colors we want to play with. So let's get a bit more space. And I will want to start merging them together. So I will select my albedo TLD. This will be the base. Soft thread looks almost similar. I will probably end up using that as base. Actually, let's see. So what I want to do now is to create a merge node. Connect this albedo TLD to this merge. Okay. Then select this soft thread. This one will go over. Let's have a look at what this node is doing. Okay. So what I want to do from now is to start painting a mask. So this one will be a color mask. So for this reason, it doesn't have to be too high res, 16 bits. The main value will be 0 and the alpha will be 1. Color space will be scalar because I will be painting a mask information. I simply need to click on OK. And this one, let's rename things so everything is kept clear, will be my ISO soft red layer. Let's connect this layer to this merge. Now what I have to do is to double click on this layer, and with my most basic brush, or I can use something with a lot of softness in the painting. So what I can do now is simply to paint the area where I want this yellow to happen. I mean this soft pink to happen. So I can paint that here on the nose. Okay. May want to get a little bit of the pink happening on the eyes. You can paint directly also on the UVs to get rid of this kind of issues when you are projecting something in 3D. Just paint on the UVs. And remember that if you paint on one side, on the UVs, you need to paste it on the other one. Yeah. You can make the lips to become slightly pink as well. Okay, so let's keep it like this. So what I want to do next, let's rename things quickly. Soft pink merge. Okay. So I will want to merge my blue color on top of that. So this is basically the same process. So you want to create a paint layer, mid resolution, can even be smaller resolution than that. Just be smart. Try to optimize your scene when you are working on colors information, because you do not need always to work on 4K. So we can optimize that really easily with the node graph. Okay, so I can start to paint a bit more of this blue information here. Can be heavy handed at the beginning and then later on just reducing the overall intensity or the overall saturation to fade things a bit more. Okay, I think that I want to get a little bit of this kind of blue color happening in the midline of the face. Slightly under the cheeks. And I have a bit of this happening inside of the ears. So, in my opinion, the primary colors is what is taking the longest amount of time to do. So I will say, do not worry if you are spending a lot of time painting the primary colors. Secondary and tertiary colors will be more or less automatically achieved with masks and with procedurals. So you need to spend a lot of time brushing up your primary colors. So once I get something like that, which is way too exaggerated, what I can do is different ways to play with that. I can just reduce the overall weight, the overall amount. Could be able to do the same here. Or I can also simply reduce the saturation directly into my color node. So I will simply rename that soft blue MRG. I may want to add a bit of the yellow. Doing something like that. Always remember to rename things properly. Okay, let's create a new layer. ISO soft or yellow layer, and then I can paint a bit of this yellow color. Inside of the ears. Need to visualize to display it before, otherwise I will not be able to see what I'm painting. Okay, this is really subtle. I want to get a bit of this happening on top of the cheekbone. Let's make it slightly more visible so we can really see what is happening here. So we add a bit more saturation. Click on OK. And what I can do is to reduce the value of this main color. Okay. Looks like I have a bit of yellow happening on top of the occipital. a bit more inside of the ears. Top of the nose. And now I can simply reduce this yellow, merge, opacity. So I'm getting something slightly more realistic. What you want to do from time to time is that you just want to take the last node of your node graph, just plug it into the diffuse color of your shader, then select your shader and see what is happening with a bit of speck. Okay, so that's what I'm getting so far. So last thing that I will merge will be this. So I will keep this soft orange for later purpose if I want to add more vibrancy, but what I want to use now is to use this mid brown. And again, this is always the same workflow. So you are creating new merge, connecting this guy here, then create a paint, connect this paint to the mask, make sure that this paint node is black at the beginning. If I'm just picking up this guy, I should be able to see that everything is full of white. Okay, so when I'm selecting this paint, I can have, I can use another brush now. I think that one that I like for this kind of purpose will be this loose edge. And I want to kill the symmetry for that and start painting what I saw on my reference. Let's reduce the opacity for this brush. Something like that. Okay. Then if I'm looking at what is happening on my ref, which is this guy, where is it? Should be able to see that the kind of purple pattern is fading on top of the forehead. Can randomize it a bit more using this same brush. And playing a bit with the opacity. Have a bit of this pattern happening on top of the ears, in between the ears, so I want to do that as well. So it's a lot of time that you will have to spend like customizing the way your model is looking. You do not have to paint without any shader, without any shading information. Okay, so I can quickly show my model and start painting in the area where I want to see a bit more of this pattern. But I can follow also the volume of my model, so if I want to see where the ears are happening, then I can do it. Click on F1 to go back to my former my flat view with the shader selected, and then play a bit more with this, with the area for this black color. So one last thing before I'm refining this color of line, something that one last thing that I want to quickly show you, and is something that can add a lot of vibrancy and a lot of volume to your main color. We'll keep painting that offline. So yeah, one last thing that I wanted to show you is how to be able to play with the volume of your model. So just get rid of this dark brown because it's way too visible and distracting. Let's keep it like this for now. So what you can do is to start playing a little bit with the volume information of your model. So in order to do that, what you will have to do will be to calculate or to use the ambient occlusion. So if you go in Object, you right click on your object and do ambient occlusion, then it will calculate and reference the ambient occlusion in your scene, in your Mari project, using the current version of your model. If you have another version, then you will have to calculate it again. You have to calculate the ambient occlusion for every versions that you are using. So what we want to do is to use the ambient occlusion to get a little bit of color information. So what we can do is probably to merge that again. Whoops. Then I will instant the ambient occlusion. If I'm clicking on the one, that's what I should get out of my ambient occlusion, so something like that. And I want to use this to say that I want to get some dark red values happening inside of the AO. So I will use a HSV, connect this HSV like this, then connect this ambient occlusion as a mask. Nothing should happen because my HSV is blank, but I just want to slightly make it darker and raise a bit of the saturation. Okay, I can shift the hue to become a bit more red. So you see that we have the opposite effect of the one that we want to do. So in order to reverse it, what I will do is to use a brightness lookup. So brightness lookup, that's I will do right click, invert, and now I can play a bit more with the ambient occlusion. So if I want to get less of this effect, I just need to reduce this curve, or if I want to make this effect to be a tad more visible, I can play with this curve like this. So if we have some dark red happening inside of the AO, we should also have some more whitish information happening outside of the AO. So I will just copy this setup, paste it here. Okay, connect it like this. Just go back into this HSV, reset the value back to where they were, select this brightness lookup and revert it as well. So what I want to do is to make the value to become a bit brighter and a bit more yellowish, like this. Then I can play with brightness lookup to make sure that this is happening only outside of the ambient occlusion. Let's make them a bit more heavy. Okay, a bit less saturated probably, and a bit more yellow. And this is what we have. So can make that, let's saturate that a bit more. Okay. And this is our base. I will keep refining that, but this is what we came from. So we started with a base, with a tile label, then we added some soft pink values, a little bit of a blue color happening as well. We added another hue with some yellow happening on the area where we will see a little bit of the bones. I think that this one should be a bit less dark actually. Let's saturated. Okay, then we used this to create our pattern, and using the ambient occlusion, we really added a lot of volume to our base for the albedo. So this is it for this video. I will keep refining this base, and then in the next video we'll be able to start speaking about the secondary colors. So I will do also a little bit of cleaning, making sure that the names are a bit more speaking, a bit more clear. And of course, again, see you in the next video, guys.